What are some of the exciting opportunities and challenges, perhaps, at this Mobile World Congress, seen through the eyes of your membership?
Well, you know, our theme this year was connecting in a mobile-only world, and that in and of itself represents kind of a very big leap, because for years, everybody, marketers, media, advertising agencies, have been talking about mobile first. But for us, the internal debate and the decision was really to say, no, you actually have to adjust to the fact that this is a mobile-only world. You know, already in the US, 2/3 of all consumers are spending the majority of their digital time on mobile devices. In some parts of the world, it's far more than that, and the trend lines in the US are inexorably up as well. So you just have to kind of face the recognition that the overwhelming amount of access to interactive media will come through mobile screens, mobile devices, which themselves have multiple mobile permutations. And that creates just a whole host of, well, as you said, opportunities and challenges. I think the biggest opportunity, and the deep dive conversations we've been having with IAB members about this and partners here in Barcelona in particular over the past couple of days, is that it actually, the mobile connection is, you know, truly a one-to-one connection. It's not just the intimacy of the device, but it's the fact that the device is yours. You're registered, it has a device ID. There are all kinds of things attached to it, and used well, used properly, used sensitively by publishers and by marketers, it gives you an enormous, not just an enormous amount of information, but an enormous amount of affinity with your consumer. It's a completely different way of thinking about marketing. All the words, all the buzzwords that we use, engagement, intimacy, one-to-one, take on real meaning when you think of them in in the relationship between the consumer and the mobile device, because these are communications, these are entertainment, these are services, these are in effect products that are coming from us to you. So the opportunity, all marketers are kind of just overwhelmed, consumed by this. In the conference towards the end of our summit today, we had Leonid Sudakov, who's the president of Mars Pet Care. And he went from being the chief marketing officer to being the president of connected solutions. I mean, that transition, Lisa Donahue from Starcom was interviewing him on stage, and that transition alone speaks volumes. The idea that here is a guy who specialized in doing kind of mass communications about pet food to doing one-to-one solutions and services through mobile devices for pet owners. That's the opportunity. The challenge is how, I mean, there are technical and technological challenges. You know, how do you build these things? How do you measure their actual efficacy? How do you make sure they work? How do you evolve them? How do you turn them into businesses? Those are, you know, big issues. But then, how do you integrate it with pre-existing media? I asked the question of Leonid and Lisa at one point, is what is your vision of the new media mix, and does that phrase even make sense? How do you, for example, integrate Nielsen ratings for television, which is still going to exist, with the whatever the one-to-one metrics are in a mobile environment? And what are those metrics? What are the ones that are going to matter to you? Is it going to be app downloads? Is it going to be purchases? Is it going to be interaction time? So a lot of issues ranging from technology to process to measurement to understanding the variety of benefits, but it's a kind of an unbelievably exciting time.
So there's definitely members who are very advanced and doing amazing things. There's some probably that are a little bit behind. How do you broadly see the digital publishing industry as far as being forward-leaning and being successful, or having a strong execution. And where do you hope that goes? Maybe next time we meet in Barcelona next year.
Well, I think that we have to accept that the long-term evolution of the publishing world is from the advertising, the classic advertising model, to some kind of post-advertising model. And by that I mean, when you say the word advertising, it calls up a pretty clear mental model. You automatically think of something that's about boxes and time slots, which are themselves a form of box. And I think it's now self-evident that we're moving into something that is well beyond that, especially in mobile environments. For one, you can't fit enough of those boxes and time slots in a normal kind of media interaction space to make up for the revenues that you had in the pre-mobile world. So it's difficult to do. For two, again, the actual value that's being created, that is the highest value, is through this one-to-one connection with the end user. And some of that connection is about the communication and consumption of entertainment and information, as it has been in the past. But some of it is about the delivery of services that you haven't even thought about before. And so I would say the way I phrase it is, again, moving from the advertising model and the advertising mental model to some kind of as yet undefined post-advertising mental model that then has to become a business model. I think that is a challenge. If your business has been based for 20 years, 50 years, 100 years on the classic advertising mental model, it's a challenge to reorient your entire business someplace else. And it's a particular challenge because it is still the case that most publishing companies still have the overwhelming part of their revenue is based on the classic advertising mental model. So, you know, the train is moving from one place to another. You know that you got to start changing the wheels on the train, but how you do it, what the new wheels are, what the time frame is to put the new wheels on is difficult to discern. So I'd say that frames what the issues are for IAB publishers. The opportunity, of course, is the classic opportunity. People still want and they still need news, and they still want and they still need entertainment, and they still want information, the kinds of things that publishing companies have specialized in since the dawn of print, and probably before the dawn of print, are still enormously valuable. You know, Turner Sports. Turner is one of our hosts tonight. Turner Sports, CNN, Cartoon Network. Just take those three things alone. You're still going to be millions upon millions of people who want to watch sporting events live, at a distance, on small devices, in big arenas. That's not going to change. There's still going to be millions and millions and millions of people who depend on the news. They depend on it because they need to know what the weather's going to be tomorrow, and they want to know what the political decisions in Washington and Brussels are, and they want to know what the school lunches are going to be. That's still vitally important, and they still want to be entertained. So cartoons and sitcoms and 5-minute videos are still going to be vital. So that doesn't go away. But how you go from the large mute audience to the individual relationship with those, and how you make money out of it in a sustainable way, that's still in process.